I'm Dr. George Flynn, and you're watching In-Depth TV. Today we're going to be discussing something between the two of us about people that kind of see into the future. Now, I'm not talking about a psychic. I'm not a psychic. I'm not a minister. I'm a physician. And I deal in real world things, diseases, diagnoses, bringing people back to health. And so I'm a physician. But this, to me, I started reading it. I heard something on the radio the other day, and I started studying this. They quoted a fellow that wrote a book about this. The quote was, "Ideas have consequences." Now, we all hear that actions have consequences, but ideas have consequences. Now, the book is by a man named Richard Weaver. And when we're talking about this, I'm going to remind you throughout the show about this book and when it was written. It was written in 1949, around 70 years ago, just around 70 years ago. And listen to some of the ideas that he had that I took away from it. And these are not my ideas. These are his ideas. I'm just bringing you the ideas, and you can sort, sift, and separate and understand the ideas that you like, or you may reject them all. But it's good to be exposed to this kind of thinking. And it was good for me to be exposed to it, and I want to show the whole deal to you. There are three levels of thinking he was talking about. Now remember, 1949. Not today, but it could have been written today. He said there are three different areas, three levels on which we think. One is specific ideas. Two is general beliefs. And three is dreams of the world. Specific ideas. These are ideas about your daily life. Like, what should you rather have, mashed potatoes or green beans? You have specific ideas about your likes and dislikes. Would you rather vacation in the mountains or the seashore or go snow skiing or in a pond, or would you rather have a stay-home vacation? What would you rather do? When you go somewhere, would you rather walk or ride a bike or a scooter or a bus or drive a car or a truck? What would you like to do? What are your specific preferences? What foods do you like? Who do you like to be around? What type of TV shows or movies or entertainment? Or do you like to be outdoors? Do you like to run? Do you like to exercise? Do you like to sit on the couch and watch TV? What do you like? Those are your specific ideas. Now, general beliefs. What's happening in the world? Is the world good or bad? Are things good or bad in the stock market? What's happening? What is happening in the world? I've heard the old saying, there are people that watch things happen, and there are people that make things happen, and there are people that say, what's happening? And so what I'm trying to do is show you your general belief about what is going on in the world. You take in all of the news, you take in all of the ideas that you hear about from friends and family, and we want to know what you think about what's going on in the world. And that's important for you to have your own opinion, your own ideas. I mean, you know what kind of pie you like, you know what kind of cake you like, you know how you like your steak or how you like your vegetables. General belief about the world and how the world is. Is the world a great place or is it a very cruel place? Tell me about the world. That's in your mind. And then the third thing is your dreams of the world. What do you see the possibilities are? Can people get along? Can we all bond together for everyone? Is there a dream where we can kind of all be headed in the same direction? Not have one group headed off this way and another group headed off this way. And can we all be striving toward a similar goal? And there have been several times in the world, and we'll just talk about the United States, been several times when we've all united in a single goal. Most times around wartime. World War I, World War II, most of the times. But if you remember President Kennedy, going to put a man on the moon in a decade. Well, the United States, as a collective people, we said we're going to do this. And I think we did it in a little bit less than a decade. And we have come to an area, remember, when was this written? 1949. 70 years ago, or a little more or less. He was saying that we've come to a point in the world, and we will get to a point in the world, I think he was looking toward the future, where work has no value. Nobody cares about doing a good job. They just work. They go to work. They come home. They don't care about what kind of work they do. They just do the work and get by. Nobody wants perfection. Nobody wants to do it right the first time. Have you ever noticed that? Now, certainly, if you're watching this, you are not one of those people. You're not one that just wants to get by. And his idea was people only work for money so that they can get the things that they want. People only work for the payment so that they can buy things that they want. Now, when was this? We're talking about today, aren't we? But remember, this was written 70 years ago. And was it the same then as it is now? And he also was talking about the media is a driving force. Talking 70 years ago. The media is a driving force. He's talked about the newspapers, the ads in the newspapers. They're a driving force. And things were coming at him so quickly with the newspaper back then. He said it's going to speed up, and we won't think, we'll only react because things are happening so fast in life. He says there's this big technological revolution. Everything moves faster and faster and faster. 70 years ago, that's what he was saying. And back in 1949, he said that there was this big machine, in quotes, this imaginary machine. I think he called it stereopticon. It had three main moving parts. 3 parts that were molding our views. And these 3 parts were the press, or the newspaper, the radio, and motion pictures. Now, if you remember, motion pictures used to have a newsreel. And so he was talking about the 3 moving parts that caused us to have the views that we have. The newspaper, or the press, the radio, and motion pictures. Now, today, we have even more. We have cable TV, we have online videos, we have YouTube, we have the internet, everything is out there to help mold our views. And, you know, there are all kind of headlines. And headlines are designed to grab our attention, and subject lines in emails. You know, there are courses on how to write a subject line, courses on how to write headlines, so you grab the viewer's attention, or you grab the attention of whoever's looking at it. And they do what's called A/B testing. They'll change one word or one comma, and they'll test that to against the other version of it to see who gets the best, or which one gets the best response from you and me. So remember, this was 1949. In 1838, James Fenimore Cooper, he was talking about the press. And he said, the press thrives on controversy. And he was questioning, remember, this is 1938, almost over 100 years ago, less than 200 years ago. He said, the press, we don't know what's true anymore. He was talking about fake news back then. So what we're talking about these days is not really new. Or they could see into the future. But I choose to believe it's the same thing over and over. It's talking about human nature. And they talked about freedom disappearing because we felt comforted and we just sort of relaxed and didn't worry about somebody encroaching on freedom. Now, I don't know if this is true or not in these days, but it seems to be. And these are not my views. These are James Fenimore Cooper and Richard Weaver's. That's their views. I'm just bringing them to you. They're even saying we need to have shared beliefs. And our shared beliefs have been diminished. They were talking about back then, there was a de-emphasis of religion and an emphasis of education. Have we seen that in this day and time? But back then, they said technology is the answer. Technology is the answer. 1949, 70 years ago, they were saying technology is the answer. They didn't have computers, they didn't have transistors, they had tube radios. But technology was the answer. And they showed us that this machine, this news medium, it shows us our life ideals. It tells us when to laugh, tells us when to cry. And the point of all of this is this was back 70 years ago. Richard Weaver talked about all of this. And it's still happening to us from what I see these days. And I want you to think about that in your life. You have your specific ideas, you have your general beliefs, and you have your dreams of what the world could be. Where are you getting those? I want them to be your ideas, not someone else's ideas imposed on you. And that's the reason I wanted to bring this to you. I know it's a little complicated and a little deep philosophically, but I think it's important because your ideas, your opinion is extremely important. Hold on to them. I'm Dr. George Flynn. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.